These containment units are quite effective. The ticks appear well pacified. How will we safely transfer them into the ship?
We've modified an intake unit to flush them directly into the engineering bay. It should be much safer than attempting a controlled breakout.
A slight deviation from the original accident, but for the added safety, worth it.
These units were used to refuel ships?
Yeah, input only now though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed. Liv, are you feeling well? Given your infection, I wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Jack. Honestly, I feel fine physically.
And mentally?
I'm fine there too, Dr. Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The state of this future is not great. But we've got a plan to fix it. And I've got work to keep me busy. Just soldiering on, you know?
Indeed. You'll let me know if your condition changes.
Of course.
How's your work here coming along?
Quite well, actually. For being 400 years into the future, this technology's pretty similar to what we're used to. Suppose an apocalypse slows things down a bit.
Understandable.
Still, the fabricators are quite handy. Juno's been printing me parts as I need them. Pretty cool, huh?
Given the value of the fabricator technology, I would expect it to be leveraged as such.
Fair enough. I just wish we'd had one working back in the hab. It would have made repairing you a hell of a lot easier.
Not exactly, Captain. Without the proper reference schematics or a functional sample, developing even a simple part for fabrication is a difficult process.
Is that why so much data is required to develop new hardware?
Precisely.
Everett? I don't know if you'll ever find this, but I wanted to get it out before, well, before things get any worse. If you do manage to find this, well, then you know what's happened. I suppose the good news is we caught the emitter deck to work. Which, if I'm not mistaken, means you owe me dinner. Rabbit, listen to me. I know you. I know you're going to try to put all this on yourself somehow. Make yourself believe there was something you'd have done had you been here. It's not true. You understand? Don't go trying to carry that. We all knew developing a cure was virtually impossible. No one here was waiting to be saved. You're leaving. You're already doing everything you could do to try and stop this. Unless you Everett, be safe. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, Adriana. Well, I know I can count on you to look out for everyone. So I'm sending you my access codes. They should get you into my stuff and a few engineering areas. My spare rations, my playing cards, whatever else. If any of it helps even a little bit, please, take it. Share it. Alright, Unit 5, back to the lab. The director wants to run those simulations again.
Query. For what purpose?
I'm not sure. Dr. Harlan's ideas were intriguing, to say the least, but, well, I suppose the director knows best. Go ahead and prep the simulations. I'll join you shortly.
Acknowledge, Dr. McKenna.
I'm not going to be able to change your mind, am I?
I just... You know I wouldn't leave unless I had...
It's okay. A cure would change everything. You're not wrong about that. I just wish...
I know, Nora. Me too. I won't be long.
Ta-ta.
Approaching the Estrella now.
Finally, if any fuel cells are still intact, they'd probably be deeper within the wreckage. Unfortunately, everything beyond the bridge is steeped in radiation, and the ship's AI is just making matters worse.
The ship's AI? Do you mean Apollo?
Are you familiar?
Apollo was the ship's tactical AI. He was instrumental in helping us survive our first encounter with the biomass.
I just hope he's still online.
Considering my difficulties exploring here, he must be.
Then if we can make contact with Apollo, he can probably help us find the fuel cell we need.
Guess it's time to say hello to our old friend.
Roger that. Heading to the bridge. All this scaffolding. Dr. Harlan, were you attempting to repair the bridge?
I was stabilizing it so I could investigate. It would have become a salvage operation had the ship's AI not shut down all my equipment. With my equipment offline, radiation there has made it impossible to work.
Not to worry, Dr. Harlan. Apollo will listen to us.
A downed cargo drone. Some of your equipment, Dr. Harlan.
Correct. Incapacitated by the ship's AI, best I can tell.
Why would Apollo do that?
He did mention serving as a tactical AI. It's possible Apollo has activated some security measures around his ship.
Isn't that perfect?
Well, I'm sure you can convince him to help us out, Jack. We did before.
Power feeding from Chiron Station.
A way to keep the bridge online, so Dr. Harlan could investigate.
Wait, you're powering the bridge? Don't you think that could have...
Yes, Captain Rhodes. It seems in doing so that I inadvertently prompted the ship's AI to destroy my equipment. Juno was handling the cargo drone's navigation out there, so I assumed I could safely investigate the bridge. I didn't want to lose an opportunity to learn more. But perhaps this outcome was inevitable.
A bypass for the door controls, locked behind a keypad.
It was the only way I could gain access. The code is 2126.
I've gained access to the bridge.
I assume you have some type of plan.
Apollo's AI core would be an appropriate place to start. It was vital to his operation here.
Good point, Jack. If it's still intact, could be all we need to strike up a conversation.
You two are rather confident.
Apollo commissioned us as official crew members last time we met.
And we did part on good terms. I'm sure he'll do what he can to help.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
A casualty from Dr. Harlan's previous investigation.
It was just another shell lying around the station. We were trying to put it to good use.
An electrode for the defibrillator. These induction panels were essential to my survival on the Estrella. However, they no longer appear to be in an operable state, much like the rest of the ship. A casualty from Dr. Harlan's previous investigation.
It was just another shell lying around the station. We were trying to put it to good use.
I thought I could pilot it well enough, but apparently limb control is not my forte.
I'm expecting you'll fare better, Echo One. If this Apollo is indeed the ally you say he is.
Apollo's AI core.
Oh, still intact?
Reasonably so, it seems. I'll just need to plug it into the mainframe access slot to be sure. The main access point for the bridge systems. With Apollo's AI core plugged in here, we might have a chance of establishing contact.
Unknown user detected. Bridge access is restricted to crew members only.
Wait, what?
Initializing threat suppression protocol.
Apollo, disable the alarms. Now!
Invalid command. The only crew members authorized with bridge access are Captain Olivia Rhodes and the Echo Unit designation. Jack, welcome back to the Estrella. It is good to see you.
Thank you, Apollo. It is good to see you as well.
Is Captain Rhodes with you? And well, I hope.
Cheers, Apollo. We missed you.
Likewise, Captain. Jack, your appearance is altered. I almost did not recognize you. I must apologize for the alarms.
Your reasoning was sound.
What brings you back to the Estrella?
We need an FTL fuel cell, Apollo. But we believe you've been disabling Dr. Harlan's salvaging equipment. We'll need it back online to deal with the radiation here.
Preserving this vessel is my primary directive. The last time jump virtually destroyed it. No further attempts to remove or misuse equipment can be permitted.
Lives depend on it, Apollo.
I understand, Captain, but I cannot allow any further material from this vessel to be compromised.
Apollo, Liv is infected with the biomass. and your directive is protecting this ship's crew and its critical assets.
Forgive me, Jack. I failed to follow your reasoning.
You yourself commissioned Liv, a fellow Atlas employee, as acting captain after the deaths of your original crew. You must remember.
Confirmed. Though I had not considered her status in such terms. Captain Rhodes is truly infected.
She needs your help.
Very well. As the Astrea's tactical adjunct, my primary directive is to protect its crew.
So you will help them?
Affirmative. I am hereby available to assist you in obtaining a fuel cell.
Lovely. That's settled.
Apollo, are you able to detect any fuel cells that are still operational?
My sensor network has been severely damaged. However, any functional fuel cells on the Astrea would be in the auxiliary drive bay. It can be seen through the window far ahead of the bridge.
It seems easy enough to reach.
And it would be if this AI hadn't disabled the equipment I set up to counter the radiation.
A temporary security measure. Your equipment is now re-enabled.
You better not have damaged any of it.
Normal operations should resume now. Jack can verify this.
Oh dear. Incoming.
What the hell is that?
A cargo drone. Apparently no longer capable of flight.
Apologies. My anti-theft protocols are quite aggressive.
Fortunately, our salvaging equipment appears to still have working radiation dampeners, meaning Jack should now have a safe route to the drive bay.
That's some good news.
A number of problems remain. Accessing the fuel cells, for one. Doing so will require that I have direct control of the systems within the drive bay. You must bring me along with you.
Are you seriously going to integrate with this rogue AI?
Without Apollo, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We can trust him.
Jack, I'll walk you through the process of downloading my imprint to your cortex.
I'm ready, Apollo.
Simply insert my AI core into the lower receptacle, then use your data link on the override slot. I will do the rest. Disconnecting from mainframe now. Download complete. Only one final issue remains, Jack. Your arms are too short.
Too short?
The FTL technology is highly sensitive. Accessing the drive bay and the fuel cells within will require multiple operators.
Good thing there's two of us then.
Unfortunately, the debris field is far too irradiated to accommodate Captain Rhodes.
You're saying Jack's the best chance we've got, but even he won't be enough.
I might be able to help, actually. The cargo drones employ stasis technology, which enables them to manipulate objects at a distance.
Like the stasis projectors we used to levitate the tram back in the hab.
Exactly. I believe I can incorporate the drone stasis tech into your shell, Jack. I'll just need more data from them to be sure.
The drone that just hit the bridge is unlikely to put up much resistance. I'll start there.
Whenever you're ready, Jack.
I'm heading out.
Jack, to stay protected from radiation out there, you'll need to activate radiation dampeners with your data link. They can be found on both charging docks and cargo drones.
Is there any possibility of recovering this drone?
I'm not sure. Its guidance module is clearly offline, but some of its other systems might still be attacked. Scanning its data port will allow us to evaluate.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grip across space, so I suppose...
It's a grip projector. Let's move on.
More data will be needed.
There'll be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to look for.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampers as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.
Charging dock restored.
Echo 1, those charging docks won't have the data Juno needs to design your new tool, but they will restore your power. Hold your hands near the induction panel, and it will recharge your shielding.
Shields at 95%. Dock online. The archives in this unit have been added to the dataset as well.
Apollo, I wanted to ask.
Yes, Captain.
Well, you probably figured this out already, but... You know this isn't your time, right? This isn't the future you came from.
Affirmative. When we first arrived, I was able to accurately calculate the astronomical year. However, I lacked sufficient data to determine that the course of history had been altered. I apologize for having misinformed you. The fact that half of the Estrella was left in your time and led to system-wide decimation of the human race is clear evidence of a tactical oversight on my part.
Apollo, I believe I may be able to extend Jack's reach by about 4 meters. I hope that will be far enough.
Affirmative.
Just a few more scans should suffice, Jack. Data recovered. Network status connected. We're making good progress, Jack. Jack, I'm detecting extreme radiation nearby. If you can pinpoint the source, I advise staying clear. Shields at 95%. The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool. This dock is now part of the computational array.
Hell of a lot of radiation out there. Guess it's coming from the Estrella.
Correct. The Estrella's last time jump ruptured a generator, diffusing radiation throughout the region.
That's the radiation dampness.
Apollo, your defensive measures are quite capable.
Given that my primary function is advanced tactics, I consider my response to have been admirably restrained.
Not to interrupt your self-congratulations, but going forward, is there anything else I should know about your countermeasures in regards to my vessel?
Hazard identified. An active warhead from the Estrella.
Once your grip projector is installed, removal of dangerous objects like this will be possible. Until then, maintaining a prudent distance is advisable. Shields at 95%. Connectivity restored. This dock is now aiding in the development of a regenerative shield jack.
Dr. Hartley, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage.
Liv, I found a part of the Kronos 2, the hull identification panel. I believe it was pulled through with us when we time jumped.
Just couldn't stand to be without us, could she? You know, I volunteered for the Kronos. No one else would touch it. But that's exactly why I went after it. I wanted to get as far out there as I could. Fast forward a couple of years, and we're making that jump on the Estrella. All of a sudden, there's 4 centuries between me and everything I've ever known. Can't really get much further out than that, can you?
Approaching the drive bay.
I'm detecting some intense radiation there, Jack. Warheads, I believe. I advise removing them from the immediate area before proceeding.
Sounds like the perfect job for that new tool you're working on.
Correct. It will allow him to manipulate distant objects, including these warheads.
Good luck collecting that data, Jack.
Copy that, Liv. I'll continue searching for cargo drones to scan.
How's it looking out there, Jack?
Manageable. How are your preparations going?
You know that biomass container you grabbed?
Earth still appears blue from this distance. The blight of the biomass is nowhere in evidence.
You think we'll ever be able to go back? Not just me, but humanity.
In my limited experience, I have found human beings to be discerning, resourceful, and, above all, exceedingly stubborn. Based on those factors alone, I would estimate the odds of humanity's return to be more than favorable.
We ought to put you in charge of morale.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 95%. More cysts, Jack.
No tentacles, though. It must be an unevolved specimen from our original time.
Nevertheless, still quite deadly, as doubtless you recall.
Perhaps my cloak emitter would be of benefit here.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 95%. Data recovered. Network status connected. We're making good progress, Jack. Shields at 95%. Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby. Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target. Activate the projector and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on.
Impressive work, Juno. Apollo, will I be able to access the fuel cells now?
I believe so.
Good. Heading to the drive bay.
Shields at 95%.
I'm back at the drive bay, armed with the grip projector this time.
Great. You should be able to remove those warheads now.
Shields at 95%.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Now heading for the fuel cells.
Great. We'll keep a working cargo drone on standby. Just look for a good fuel cell and we'll handle the rest.
Roger that.
Shields at 95%.
Apollo, can we rely on the remaining munitions to stay in place?
Affirmative. With the ship now stabilized, these warheads should remain safely stowed.
A spent biomass torpedo.
Just like every other that was left behind here. Useless for my research, unfortunately.
Given the damage the Estrella has sustained, I would not expect even a simple system such as this to remain operational. How was that achieved?
The Estrella was built for war. Her high level of redundancy and modularity limits most damage to the compartment that sustained it.
Apollo, do these controls operate the door?
Correct. To open the door, both controls will need to be engaged at the same time.
I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Estrella's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically. but unfortunately they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives will prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we've previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started.
Fuel cell located. Apollo, what are the chances that any of these fuel cells are still full?
The fuel cells were not designed for time travel, so unfortunately the odds of viability are incalculable. Scanning all their data ports will answer your query, however.
Empty. I'll have to keep looking.
Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
Apollo, what are the chances that any of these fuel cells are still full?
The fuel cells were not designed for time travel, so unfortunately the odds of viability are incalculable. Scanning all their data ports will answer your query, however. Accessing fuel cell.
Another empty cell.
Apollo, you're sure there's a good fuel cell there?
I never said I was sure, Captain Rhodes. It's simply the most likely location on my ship to contain a viable fuel cell, if any were remaining.
Right. If any were remaining.
Exposing fuel cell for inspection. Jack, before we remove any fuel cells, you'll first need to check their condition.
This does not look good. These cells are all empty.
Exposing cell for visual inspection.
Viable fuel cell located. Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send 2.
What for? There's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send 2.
Warning, lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarmed the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send 2.
I don't think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks. The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pesky bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off. Cargo drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Receiving flight. system is in place to collect the cargo.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. Second gantry's all set. So I'm heading back inside. I can finish the hookup from there, Jack. Unless you want to do it.
I'll take care of it, Liv. I'd prefer to see the job through to the end anyway.
Okay, great. We'll see you in a bit.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds. If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have some cargo clamps ready to receive it here. Bit surprised to see welders haven't changed all that much in 400 years.
That design is actually from a historical archive. It was the standard for most of the 23rd century. I'm afraid it's the closest approximation to a welder I could fabricate. I hope it's acceptable.
Perfectly adequate, Juno. Thank you.
Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Looking good, Cowboy Jack. Steady as she goes. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Fuel cell in place and ready to be secured.
All you, Jack.
How will this fuel cell interface with the rest of the technology here?
We've made some modifications on the receiving end, but ultimately what matters is that it can produce a strong enough burst of power to jumpstart the FTL reaction.
A duty it should fulfill admirably. At least for a single jump.
Fuel cell secured.
Copy that. System check, Juno. How did we do?
Systems nominal. Both the fuel cell and biomass container are secure and fully engaged with the ship's intake systems.
Well, Jack, looks like things are wrapped up here. No need for you to rush back, though. I'm not exactly eager to send you hurtling through time again.
Of course.
Also, Dr. Harlan could always use more data for his research, if you'd like to continue exploring the station.
Copy that, Juno.
Hello, Jack. If you're looking for the captain, she's in the workshop with Dr. Harlan.